it's Allie J. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to take some time and talk about what it looks like homeschooling a child with global apraxia. You may or may not know we have a son who at the time of this video is 7 years old. He was diagnosed with global apraxia around 3 and has just been a journey for the past however many years. Honestly, from the time he was born, we knew that there were some things it was such random things, and we had an incredible pediatrician who was able to kind of lead us in the right direction. Like, this is a symptom of this, and this could be a symptom of this, and just trying to figure out the underlying cause of all of these different things. So I will, at some point, do a video about that and just how we kind of came to figuring out what was going on with our little man, because I think that's important too for people who may be trying to figure things out with their kids and advocating for them. And so it's hard trying to find the right doctors and specialists and having people really fighting alongside you for your child. That will be a whole other video. So, but wanted just to talk a little bit about that. And again, not to push someone in a direction or say, this is what you should be doing. You should definitely be homeschooling your kid. I don't believe that. I don't think that. I know for our family, it's the right decision. And so if it's something that you're thinking about, or maybe you just decided to jump into it, I'm hopeful that this will just be encouraging for you. So just going back on our journey with Leland, he had started in Parents as Teachers, as it did all of my 3 daughters did the same, and then him. So went from that to First Steps, and then he wasn't speaking, and all of his like fine motor, gross motor, everything he was behind on. So we knew that there was something going on, and so he qualified for United Services, which was kind of like a preschool situation. That was an incredible experience. Then from there, he went to preschool at the special education school in our district, and it was incredible. It was the teachers, the therapists, they really did become family, and they loved him so beautifully, and they poured into him, and they helped me, and I cannot say enough incredible things about them. It was one of the best decisions that we had made for him. But when he was going to start kindergarten, we had been talking years before that we knew if it was at all possible, we wanted to homeschool him. We had been homeschooling the girls from the time that they were of age to begin learning. We just started doing it at home and found great resources when they were super young, like 2 and 3, just fun ways for them to learn and games that we play. And so it was always just in the plan that that's what we were going to do. We also knew if it wasn't going to be possible, that's okay too. And so whatever it looks like for Leland, we were more than willing to do it. We just wanted what was best for him. For us, as the time got closer and closer, we really felt like we can do this. We can homeschool him. It will be a lovely thing. It will be hard, and it will be different than what it looks like with the girls, but we can do it. And the entire time leading up to him going to kindergarten, I had just been learning and watching his therapist, researching things online, listening to his teachers, seeing how he responded well when he was at school, watching him at home, working with him a little more and more, trying to figure out what are the things that motivate him, what are the things he's struggling with, asking questions. So there was a lot of prep that went into it, just knowing this was going to be the next step, but I want to be confident in that decision, and I want it to be something positive for him. So that's probably one of the first steps. I would say just research and research, learn more and more about your child through other people who are spending time with him and just the time that you have with him, and figure out some of those things that will help him learn better. Not to say that every day is roses and cupcakes and beautiful. They're not, but they are beautiful in the messy way that they kind of organically happen. So there are definitely days where Leland will come down the steps in the morning, and before he even hits the ground, he will be telling me, school's closed today, they had a half day, and so I can't come, I'm not coming. So those moments, I just let him have the moment, like, okay, why don't you go grab something to eat or go lay on the couch for a minute, just let him warm up. And I know at some point in the day, we will be having school time. And sometimes when he comes over, it's a half day, no school, as he's walking to the table. But we can usually flip it around. In the instance when we can't, that's okay. There's just going to be those days, and that's okay. He can't do it, and it's not going to be beneficial. I think that's probably the biggest thing. There is no benefit in him kicking and screaming, not wanting to do something. He's not going to be doing any learning, and my stress level is going to be through the roof, and I'm going to feel defeated. So it's just lose-lose around. So for us, have learned on days like that, okay, he's not in a place, in a mindset, and that's all right. One of the biggest benefits, I would say, of homeschooling is the ability to totally personalize the education that your child's getting. And I think that's important for any kid, but especially someone with a disability, because a lot of times what you see is they thrive in an area and they are above and beyond their age level for something, and then something else they struggle with more than the average. And it's difficult to have these two, parts of the pendulum, and trying to figure out, okay, so what does that look like? How do I push him and keep encouraging this while building this skill that he struggles with so much? We have found that. So for Leland, his reading comprehension and just being able to read, he was able to read very, very early, even though he couldn't speak. He had an augmentative communication device, and so he was able to really use that so beautifully because he was able to read and he knew what he wanted, and so that was incredible, and I think continued to help him grow in that skill. So that's something that I've always known I want to push him there and help build his confidence. I think, again, it's so important for them to feel confident and strong, and there are certain areas where that can happen, and so we really want to encourage that and push him to go further and further. So at this point, Leland reads at about a 4th grade level. So that's something that we encourage, and it brings him joy, and we can celebrate him, all of the things. And it makes the whole learning experience feel different because he has this confidence in it. The things that don't come as easy, like handwriting, is something that has been a struggle forever, to the point of he wouldn't even hold a pencil or a marker, whatever it is. So that's been a struggle, and those are the things, as his mom, that would just keep me up at night. I am ruining him, and I don't know, he'll never be able to write, and I'm failing him, and it would eat me up inside. And I have learned to just kind of shift things from, this is what you have to do. You need to write your letters. You need to use a pencil on a piece of just blank paper, and we have to figure out how to make something fun for him and figure out what is going to motivate him. So changing from, we were using just workbook curriculum for it, and found some that were just a little more fun. But things like him using markers instead of a pencil, because he can see, or it's easier to push onto the paper with a marker. A lot harder, he has to use more force, and that's part of his issue, is just the strength to push down on the paper. So it was frustrating, and he struggled even more with it. So getting him to use markers, and he doesn't even have to push that hard, and he can see, oh look what I'm doing. And so building his confidence in that. At some point, of course, he will need to use a pencil, and there are days when we do use pencils, but those are the things that are not as important to me. What's important to me is that he's learning to write and that he's enjoying it, and that's what's happening with a marker. And every day when we go into the schoolroom and begin working, I will give him options. Here's a crayon, here's a colored pencil, here's a marker, here's a pencil. Which would you like to use today? Not to say that we never push him out of his comfort zone, because we do, but we pick and choose when is a good time to do that. That is not every day. Every day we are not gonna sit down and force him to use a pencil, and that's just not how we do things. And I think that has been helpful for him to know that he can trust us, and that we are going to just gradually continue to encourage him. And I mean, honestly, just looking at it, he went from never even, we would mention that he'd have to write something or color a picture, and he would scream and cry, to now he will sit down and on a page do the writing for half of the page, which is huge. So finding those things, encouraging them, encouraging the things that they do well on a daily basis, and so that they are feeling confident, like, wow, look at me. That's what we have wanted, and what I think it can be super beneficial for all kids. So the biggest takeaway from all of that is just to say, maybe you have found a curriculum that just checks all the boxes of things that you are wanting, and that things you know will help your child to thrive. But there's parts of it that you're like, I can't, they're not quite ready for this. How do I teach this exactly? I would say it's okay to say, okay, I can't do this here. This isn't, or to say, they're not ready for this concept, so we're gonna wait till later years to introduce this, and just skip it all together. If it's something that you're feeling, this is something they really need to learn, but this is not working, that's okay. Find those other resources and ways to make it engaging for your child. Because again, there's no one curriculum that is going to be perfect across the board for anyone. So being okay with that, knowing that that's true, as you're getting into it, just know that's going to be the case. There's going to be parts of everything that aren't quite the perfect fit. But that's the beauty of homeschooling, because you're able to say, okay, that part doesn't work, so let me find something that does for that. So use it more as a benefit, and help it to encourage you to get creative and find things to really just hone in and personalize every part of it for your child. I know the thought of homeschooling a child with a disability of any kind, or honestly homeschooling in general, the thought of that can be overwhelming, can be scary, and you can feel like you're unqualified and there's no way I can do this. I can tell you that you can. I've been doing it now for, my oldest at the time of this is 11, and we started just play learning. I mean, always, obviously, but intentional play time learning when she was 2. So I've been doing it for a little bit, and it's been nothing but incredible. There's days that are hard, but the greatest decision that I made. So I want to encourage you that you can do it. I want to encourage you to say it is lovely and it is beautiful, and there's so many incredible things that you get to experience because of that decision. I would love for this channel to become just a beautiful community, a beautiful family of people encouraging each other. So if you have questions or comments or whatever, leave those in a comment, and if I can help in any way, I would be so happy to do that. So seriously, leave comments, questions, and I will try and get to them. So excited to just journey more into this homeschooling world with children with disabilities. It can be so lovely, but I know it can be daunting as well. Thank you so much for watching. Hit subscribe below, that would be amazing. And thank you so much for joining in my little corner of YouTube.